Hey everyone, this is Nitro. So in this video I'm going to talk about the Mercenaries of Apex Arena for the week of September 14th and 15th. So we can see that the Mercenaries, just looking at them, they already don't look that good, but we'll see. We'll get more details once I go into each of them. First up is Ledin with 6274 power. In terms of the star rating, it is a full 6 stars. So that's already technically better than my Ledin in terms of star level anyways. Equipment wise though, it does have the Oath of Justice, defense, magic defense, hit point buff. Wow. Carbon fiber helmet. Now this one's incredibly iffy. 8% magic defense, 7% attack, 89 hit points. I don't like that. Carbon fiber helmet with 9% hit points, just 13 defense and 45 hit points. That's more acceptable, at least much more acceptable than the carbon fiber armor. And then finally a King's Amulet with 7% defense, 7% magic defense, and 7 defense. So overall, it is usable, right? 6274 power, 6 stars, that's definitely a usable Ledin. I just don't like the fact that overall there's not that much hit point increase. He did, in total, there's just 9% here and the 5% here for a total of 14% hit point increase. If this one gave either defense or magic defense, and this one gave, and then this one gave like 15% hit points, I would like this a lot more. But with that said, this Ledin does have 6274 power, which makes it ultimately comparable to my 5-star Ledin, right? So even though my Ledin is more focused on, I guess, defense increases and hit point increases, ultimately they are comparable. So it's definitely a usable Ledin if you need a tank. Bernhardt. And this Bernhardt has 5539 power. Lead Sword Hunting and Divine Boots, which is defense and mobility +1. +1 mobility is always nice, but this is not Apex Boots, so he's missing some attack value as a result. Nonetheless, a 4 movement Bernhardt is very useful, especially with Rupture and Sword Dance for PvP. So you build him up as in Sword Dance, Rupture, and then the last skill depends on what you need. It could be the faction buff, it could be Shield Bash, depending on whether you have someone else to faction buff him. It could even be Iron Fist. So this is a fully, it has access to every single class, right? Because it does have the Iron Fist. So Haiti from Baldia did commit 3 runestones into this Bernhardt. Other than that, Soldier Boost is full, of course. Well, all things considered, right? 6-star Bernhardt, it better be fully built, especially if it has 3 runestones into it. Excuse me. In terms of the enchants, 8% attack and 21 attack is nowhere near as good as, let's say, just a flat 15% attack increase. Very oddly enough, what's pulling this Bernhardt down is the enchant values, right? This doesn't have enough attack value increase. It has a hard rock enchant of all things, and there's almost no hit point increases either. You have 5% here and 6% here, and that's pretty much it, right? There's some defense increase, but for PvP, what you want is hit points and attack increases. And this Bernhardt is really lacking in both. Would I use this Bernhardt? I suppose, because ultimately it still does have the Blood Sword Hunting and Divine Boots, but overall it's not a great one. For example, even my own Bernhardt has 5451, and my Bernhardt is at 5 stars, and it's also lacking the Iron Fist skill, so it's missing one of the class masteries. despite that, you know, I would actually say my Bernhardt is better simply because it has 9% attack and 10% attack from the two, so that gives him 19% attack increase right there, right? So I don't know, it's really awkward, just this Bernhardt. It's great in the sense of the equipment, and it's terrible in the enchants. So used at risk, basically, is my conclusion. Varna, 4816 power, and this Varna, wow, it has 8 skills, which means it should have access to every class. So it has 3 runestones. If I bring up my Varna quickly, I am missing a few classes, so we can just quickly compare. For example, I'm missing 2 skills here, and then the reinforcement skill. So that's 3 skills that I'm missing. Oh, so it should have 9 skills in total. So let's just jump back into this Varna, into Apex Arena, sorry. So it is missing the side branch, this Varna. However, it has double class mastery for sure, since it has snare. Other than that, Ragnarok, but only a 4% attack increase. 2% attack, once again, pulled down by the terrible enchants. Despite double class mastery, it's really pulled down by these terrible enchants. That's why it only has 4816 power. If I compare it with mine, oh, mine currently doesn't have equipment. Sorry. Okay, let me just throw equipment on mine first. So my equipment is, I only really have 1 flyer set, which should currently be on Angelina due to Guild Wars. So let me just quickly toss it over to my Varna, and yeah, I mean, I have 13% attack increase here. The Judge's Talisman, even though it's, I guess, off, it's not the same enchant value, it offers 7% attack and 10% crit. And then there's 13% hit points here, and another 4% attack and 10% hit points there. So my Varna has 4738 power, which is really comparable to that one, despite lacking a class mastery. But my attack is 418 plus 316, and his attack is 444 plus 254. So he is lacking attack compared to mine, which is kind of sad. Does have more hit points though, due to the additional class mastery. In conclusion, I mean, Varna is mainly used for attack, for mass attack, and then she'll use aim and 1000 arrows constantly. She just keeps rotating between the 2 skills, right? Mass attack, then aim, then 1000 arrows, then retreat. Then mass attack, then aim, then 1000 arrows, then retreat. So in that sense, she is usable, as long as you're endlessly tossing out a buff and 1000 arrows. So you can't say she can't be used due to that. I would have liked to see more attack increases, like 10% attack here, 15% attack on these 2, right? And then these should probably be hit point increases, but it is what it is. So there's not been a single, I guess, absolutely top tier character so far, but they are all usable so far, these first 3. Estelle, 5230 power. Number of skills is 8, so double class mastery. In terms of skills you would bring, it's generally considered Phoenix Wave, Skyne Staff, and then a 1-point skill, which would usually be Whirlwind Staff. You could also bring Steel Titan if you so wish, but it's more commonly Whirlwind Staff rather than Detect. So, in terms of the power rating, this is the soldier boost is maxed out 40, 10, 35, 15, and the equipment I think is where, once again, pulling down this Estelle. Yeah, I mean, no attack increase on the double axe. Steel enchant to make it tougher, I suppose. No hit point increase at all on this Maze's armor. Again, no hit point increase. And no hit point increase. So no attack increase, no hit point increase on any of these enchants, which makes this Estelle overall terrible. It's a shame because with good equipment, this Estelle could be amazing, but it doesn't have good equipment. So I actually truly can't recommend using this at all. The AoEs that it would launch would do very little damage due to the total lack of attack. Flyer Matthew is next. Now, Flyer Matthew has Gale, which could make it useful, right? Gale, Sprint, and Air Slash is pretty much the ideal skill combo for PvP-oriented Matthew. You could also throw in Attack Command, of course, to, let's say, replace the Sprint. That's up to you. 8 skills, so double class mastery. And equipment-wise, once again, just people don't seem to focus on the proper stats at all for equipment. Right? 8% attack, 2% attack, 4% attack on, and 4 attack on a helmet. And it does have the, oh wow, it has the Kizuna band at level 50, but, and it does have 7% attack here. So that's a bit better, but if this was 15% attack increase, if this would be 7 or 10%, it would 100% be usable. As it is, it's hard to say. I mean, it could have more attack, it could have more hit points, especially since this is just an SR. So, yeah, overall I can't recommend this Matthew. But if you're, unless you're in, let's say, bronze or silver. And I think everyone else from here on is downhill. But I will cover, I guess, the last bunch, just because I've been doing so for every one of these videos. This Zerida has 8 skills, so double class mastery. Extreme Magic Bow with 12% attack. Oh, that's good. Defense and some attack and some hit points, so that's acceptable too. King's Crown with defense. This is the iffy part. Should have been hit points, but it is what it is. And finally, a Lone Star Amulet with 5% attack, 6% magic defense, 7% magic defense. This is the iffy enchant. Should be 10% and hit points, ideally. But overall, I would say this is a truly usable Zerida. It's only 5 stars though, which is a limiting factor. But nonetheless, it can definitely be used. It's not top tier due to it lacking a star. It's not 6 stars like mine. But hey, the enchants are reasonable. Even though there's no hit point enchants, that's why its power is so low. It does have a good amount of attack increases. 12%, 5%, and another 2% here. So it could be better, but overall, I'd say this Zerida is usable. Continuing on, Lifini. This Lifini is all SR gear. Right there, I would say don't use her. It's just that simple. 5 skills means single class mastery. So, next, Anna. Some SR gear with a Sage's Hat. It has the Full Moon enchant, which is basically ideal for healers in PvP. It has access to Dispel, Regenerate, Heal, so it has the single class mastery in the Oracle class. And in terms of the enchant values, 11% int, okay, 6% hit points, 126 hit points, fine. 14% hit points and 4 defense, that's good. And finally 7% int and 5% crit. So overall, I would say if you need a Dispel healer, you can actually use this Anna. None of the enchants are perfect, right? This could be 15% rather than 11. This could be 10% with some hit point increase. But overall, despite that, this is a usable Anna, surprisingly. even though it only has 4678 power. 2 more characters to go. This is a Sonya with 2 SR gears. That right there eliminates her. Not enough attack. Any damage dealer really needs to be pretty much fully buffed. Like, they need full SSR gear, and they need a decent amount of power. And this right there, clearly at 4362 power, is not usable. And last but not least is the Liana. This Liana has 4680 power, which is actually a bit more than this Sonya. In terms of gear, it's acceptable because all SRs with a Sage's Hat, which is pretty common. 10% int, 2% int, 6% hit points, and 6% int. So once again, this is a Liana that's being pulled down by enchants. This should be 15% int. This should be 10% int. These two should both give a high amount of hit point increases. Like, 15% hit points, 15% hit points would be ideal, but it's lacking that kind of hit point increase. Class mastery wise, it has the Act Again and Prayer, so single class mastery. But overall, I would say this Liana can be used if your Liana has less power than it. My Liana, for example, is, I believe, significantly more powerful, 5198, so I would never use it, but this Liana is usable despite it not being perfect. Improvements would be better enchants and a full moon enchant rather than crystal. Alright, so that's all the mercenaries of this week. In conclusion, I would say the most usable is probably this Zerida, and even though it is 6-star, it's 5 stars rather than 6 stars, and this Ledin, and this Varna. Bernhardt is usable, and this Flyer General is barely usable, very borderline. Everyone else, I would say, is not usable. So no. Well, actually, the 2 healers are also usable, but definite no's is Estelle, Lifany, and Sonya. Alright, so thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you found this useful. Yeah, I mean, there's usable mercenaries for people in silver rank and so on, but if you're in gold, I'd say none of them are usable in truth. If you're in gold and trying to work your way to Langrisser. Alright. On that note, Nitro out.